This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Thursday, the 10th day of March in the year 2022. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here's what we're tracking tonight. Thanking God for his spared life, the lone survivor of the Noble House seafood fishing boat tragedy is hoping for closure for the families of the 3 missing fishermen and himself. Breaking his silence in an exclusive interview with News Source today, fisherman Vincent Dazzle said he is still having nightmares about being pitched overboard when his fishing vessel started to sink and clinging to a rafter for nearly an hour as his colleagues vanished in the deep waters of the Atlantic off the coast of Mycone. Holding back tears, Mr. Dazzle recalled that on the morning of the 19th of February, he was called by the captain of the boat, who showed him the problem they were facing as the boat started to take in water.
And the captain called us at 10 minutes before 6. And he called me by my call name. This called me Fried Rice, right? And he said, come and see what's going on at the back. When I go, the stern, the boat was already low in the water. Very, very low. The boat was taking a set of water. I opened the ice hole. The ice hole was, it's got some beam boards, it's called, it was all over the place, water take over the ice hole. I checked the engine room. The gearbox was covered with water. My response was that I said, Anthony does his car name. This boat is in bad shape. And I tell the guys that just put on our life jackets. Right? We did that.
According to Dazzle, the captain started to make contact with Noble House Seafoods via the radio transmission system, but then that started to encounter problems.
Then the captain picked up the VHF in my radio, called Noble House, and his words was that he called the name of the boat 307, this boat taking in water and it going down. During the time, the communication cut off. Right? During the water, the boat just keep going down all the time. Right? So he said, man, Lee go and see if he get his phone to call the guy that is take the reports in the morning. And with that, the boat went down. We don't know if Noble House get on back to us as they claim. They said they was trying to get on back to us, but our communication shut down. When the boat went down, it go down by the stern. Right? And it turned on the port side of the boat, where the other 2 guys, Barton and Sam, was on that side on the door leading towards the wheelhouse. I was on the opposite side, where you call the starboard side. Right? So when the boat go down and turn, and as I said before, the captain went to retrieve his phone. I don't know if he make it out the boat or not because the boat go down at a moment, right?
He said as they were pitched overboard as the boat sank, he could not see the captain and the other 2 fishermen, but he held onto a raft and did not release it until a small boat arrived at the scene. And this was almost an hour after the boat went on the water.
While the boat going down, I saw a life raft. And I held on to that and I went down. When I raised it back, all I see around me was the fishing tub, the baskets, and so on and so forth. No boat, none of the crewmen was nowhere around me. And I started to say my prayers and so on and so forth. And I was in the water for about 4 or 5 minutes. I didn't have too long, Mr. Mosley, because my hand don't start from up and thing. And little after I see a small boat come and they asked me if I could make it. I said no, and they pulled me up in the boat. I was blackout momentarily, I know for how long, right? When I revived, they gave me an Excel to drink, and they asked me how many people in the boat. I said 3, and the guys them circled the area for a couple of hours.
The man said when he regained consciousness, the men in the small vessel questioned him about the other fishermen, and they circled the area for a number of hours with the hope of finding them, but their efforts failed. He also explained that he was brought out to Unity on the east coast of the Marara and given money to take transportation to the city. The fisherman said once he came to the city, he made his way to Noble House Seafood location, where he reported the matter and provided a statement. He said he was staying to the Marine unit where he filed another report before being allowed to leave. Dazzle said he was the one who informed the family of the other fishermen of what had taken place, since the company never contacted them. He said the families demanded more answers from him, and the very next day, even as he tried to recover from his ordeal, he was arrested for questioning about possible murder, although there was no evidence of any such event taking place. He remained in police custody for 3 days, being questioned and moved between various police stations before he was eventually released and told to report to the police daily.
But prior to that, the families go and get a police van and they arrest me. The allegation was that one of them said that her father was murdered on sea and I was on the boat. So they took me to Rumfell. They put the allegation to me and they booked me for alleged murder. Right? Anyway.
This was the day after the Sunday?
Yeah, that happened Sunday the 20th. Right? Where I remain in custody until Tuesday, which during the time I give statements to Rumfell Police Station. I gave statement to Providence Police Station. I went to see a board of inquiry on the 22nd, that's Tuesday. And I was released Tuesday afternoon, just after 5. Right? And since then, every day, I got a report to the station and so on and so forth. I had to go to CID headquarters.
Dazzle said he wants something to be found from the boat and the other fishermen, since it appears as though the families of the missing fishermen do not believe his story of the tragedy. He said he was even summoned to the office of the Minister of Works, one Edghill, where he was interrogated by the minister himself.
Yesterday, around Minister 2 Marine police officers come on a motorbike and tell me I have to go to Marot, that's at Kingston, to see the minister. I went there yesterday afternoon and he told me that he was under pressure and he need answers. Mr. Mosley, I could only tell him that what took place.
Which minister was this?
Mr. Edghill.
Mr. Edghill.
Yeah.
What did he tell you?
He said he's under pressure and he need answers. Right? I told him what took place. He asked me the question, but 3 times, what took place, what. Tell him the truth, and it's the truth I'm speaking all the time, Mr. Mosley. I could only tell him what took place, right? Then he asked me if, when they carry me back with the search team, why I couldn't find the location where the boat sank. I said, Mr. Minister, I wasn't back on sea. That was when he started making inquiries, because he said he received information from the Marine and Noble House Seafoods that I was there to take the search team to the location. Right? Then he started making inquiries and he realized it was false. Right?
So you never went back on sea after the incident?
No, Mr. Mosley, never go back.
The survivor said he is still trying to process the tragedy, and while the families and the authorities seek answers, he has found himself being treated as a perpetrator of something that never took place.
Very, very devastating. Very devastating. Because it's a worrying that them are find no sort of evidence. It's worrying me. Worrying me. I need them to find something as well. Though it's work at everybody baffled. Why them are finding nothing? At least it's a steel hull boat. It's not a wood boat. They're supposed to find some kind of evidence. That was what worrying everybody. It's got everybody baffled.
Vincent Dazzle, who said he has worked as a fisherman for over 15 years, said that Noble House Seafoods has also never reached out to him since the tragedy to see how he was coping. He said it has been tough for him over the past few weeks, and he believes it was important now to tell his side of the story, to make it clear that the tragedy was real, and there was nothing else that took place on the fatal fishing trip off the coast of Maikoni. More news coming up in just a moment.
How fast is fiber? Think fast. GTT Fiber has 3 packages with download speeds of 50, 100, and 150 megabits per second. That's fast enough to stream movies and music, to chat with Gran and Fran, to study, and more. What would you do? Upgrade to GTT Fiber today and don't get left behind tomorrow. Live your fantasy at Fantasy Gaming Lounge. Win big daily. Millions in cash prizes every week. Now located at Giftland Mall, Fantasy Gaming Lounge, the best bet in town.
Social media is a great way to stay connected, and let's face it, who doesn't like likes? Whether you're showing off that great outfit or celebrating a work promotion, your first priority should be staying safe online. So shop only on secure websites, those with URLs that begin with HTTPS. Never overshare, including your location with strangers online. Configure your Facebook privacy settings to only share your photos and other personal information with family and close friends. You can be social, but it's important to be safe online.
We've got exciting news! All 12 ounce yellow cab Buster are now only $100. Buster, live in
Come
full
get
color.
your Buster, Buster $100. Come get your Buster, Buster $100.
Minister of Public Works Edghill, who holds responsibility for the maritime and transport sectors, has denied that he interrogated the lone survivor of the Noble House seafood fishing vessel tragedy. Minister Edghill admitted that he did meet with the survivor Vincent Dazzle on Wednesday at his office, but he said the meeting was one to gather information as decisions have to be made about calling off the searches. He said it was no interrogation exercise.
But at the same time, we want to make sure that we cover all of our bases in terms of the search and rescue. That's the only thing I discussed with the man yesterday. Ensure that we are searching the correct area. We have covered all the grounds. If anything he could give us to help, he saw anything else around the area while this boat was going down on sand.
In an interview with News Source, the survivor Vincent Dazzle recounted his ordeal at sea and said that during the meeting with the minister, he was repeatedly told by the minister to tell the truth as he recounted what took place. He said an allegation was even put to him that he did not show the search teams where the boat went down, only for the allegation to be withdrawn completely when the minister realized that the man was never taken back out to sea by the search teams. Minister Edghill admitted that the report that the man was taken back out to sea and did not want to offer assistance was false, but he said there are still families in mourning and answers need to be provided.
I summoned the married people in the presence of the man, and they could not keep their story because the man was not taken back out.
The minister also held meetings on Wednesday with the Home Affairs Minister and teams from the Maritime Department and the Coast Guard about the search efforts and the possibility of the searches being called off after 2 weeks.
I had a meeting with all the parties who were involved in the search and rescue, search and recovery, because we have to make a decision sometime one way or the other when we're going to stop. I asked all the parties to show me on maps and all the areas that were searched. Minister Robeson Ben was in that meeting with me. The search and rescue team could not confirm that they had covered all the areas. And I said, keep searching and make sure we cover all the gaps.
Minister Edghill has already expressed concern about the Noble House Seafood Company taking more than 24 hours before alerting the relevant authorities about the tragedy. He said he is still not satisfied with how the company has been dealing with the situation. A board of inquiry is currently probing the tragedy at sea. While expressing satisfaction with the work of the Guyana Police Force over the past years, President Irfan Ali today said he believes much more needs to be done, especially in the area of crime fighting. Speaking during the opening of the force's annual officers' conference this morning, President Ali noted that with the transformation taking place in the country, there should also be a transformation of the law enforcement agency in order to meet the needs of the country. He acknowledged that the force does not have the capacity to deploy officers in every community, but he assured his government's commitment to strengthen the force to combat crime. According to the president, crime must not be the hurdle to development, and for that reason, it cannot be business as usual when it comes to policing.
The Guyana Police Force must up its game. Our streets, communities, homes, and businesses must become safer places, much safer. In order to improve public security, the government will be investing in the technological advancement of the force. It will also be equipping the force with the means, both material and human, to bring about drastic improvements to public safety.
President Ali also noted that technology can play a great role in crime fighting, and he pointed to the success of the Safe City program. But he also said crime fighting must not only be an effort of the police force.
The police must improve its relations with the communities and citizens. The public is also obligated to support the work of the force. If there is mistrust in these relations, public order will be under threat because the police will be unable to elicit the degree of support it needs to effectively execute its lawful mandate.
The officers were told that the force must also embrace professionalism more.
There can be no place for brute force and ignorance in policing. It is also unacceptable for the police to be rude and ill-mannered to the public. As such, great attention is being paid to providing increased opportunities for training both locally and internationally.
The government will be looking to establish a police academy to foster a new dimension of policing, the president announced. He said the government will also continue to support the work and development of the Guyana Police Force as it looks for better results. Acting Police Commissioner Nigel Hoppy this morning revealed that while the Guyana Police Force continues to implement various programs and initiatives to aid in the development of the officers who serve, it continues to face a problem with those who run afoul of the law. During the opening of the annual Police Officers Conference, the top cop said there are 45 ranks currently facing the courts on various criminal charges.
We are still battling with the deviant behavior of some ranks, particularly corruption. But we are dealing with those who would wish to tarnish our image and undermine the great strides we have been making either departmentally or criminally as warranted.
The commissioner said there were over 200 complaints filed against members of the force last year, which was a slight increase over the number of complaints filed against the police the previous year. He said there were also matters that were handled at the departmental level.
We are dealing with such matters through our decentralized police office of professional responsibility. And presently we have 45 ranks before the court on various charges inclusive of manslaughter, demanding with menace, assault causing actual bodily harm, murder, simple larceny, causing death by dangerous driving, and attempting to pervert the course of justice. 10 ranks were also charged departmentally.
Commissioner Hoppy said the police force, through assistance from the government, will continue to invest in the training of its ranks as part of the efforts to improve the image and work of the police force. He said while that is being done, police ranks must also understand the need for them to be more professional and do their jobs the right way.
Let me take this opportunity to urge members of the force to always be professional in their behavior and conduct, showing courtesy towards members of the public, and to avoid corrupt practices. Let us build bridges with the public and improve our image in order that we can enhance public trust and confidence.
The police commissioner said as Guyana becomes more developed and welcomes more investors and visitors, those in charge of service and protection must put their shoulders to the wheel of effective law enforcement. It was pointed out that despite the many challenges facing the police force, the country is still seeing a reduction in the number of serious crimes. The conference was told that the country is seeing some of its best crime-fighting figures in years. Attorney General Anil Nandlal has already moved to appeal the decision of the High Court, which allows for the matter filed against the government by the former Police Service Commission to proceed. The Attorney General wanted the matter to be thrown out completely, but that was rejected by High Court Judge Gino Posada. The judge ruled yesterday that the matter will be allowed to continue, with the former chairman of the Police Service Commission, Paul Slow, being substituted as the applicant, replacing the Police Service Commission itself. The substantive matter seeks a declaration that the president's suspension of the former members of the Police Service Commission was unlawful. The Attorney General is not satisfied with the decision of the High Court and has now approached the Court of Appeal to reverse that High Court ruling, arguing that the judge misinterpreted, misconstrued, and misapplied the important doctrine of public interest litigation in such a manner that the decision of the judge has resulted in what the Attorney General sees as a grave miscarriage of justice. According to the Attorney General, Justice Passad's decision violates Article 226 of the Constitution and undermines the independence and functional autonomy of the Police Service Commission guaranteed by the Constitution of Guyana. Effectively, Mr. Nandalau said the decision is unlawful, unconstitutional, and is not supported by established legal principles. It is unclear how soon the Court of Appeal will hear the matter.
Live your fantasy at Fantasy Gaming Lounge. Win big daily. Millions in cash prizes every week. Now located at Giftland Mall, Fantasy Gaming Lounge, the best bet in town.
We've got exciting news! All 12-ounce yellow cab Buster are now only $100. Buster, live in
Come
full
get
color.
your Buster, Buster $100. Come get your Buster, Buster $100.
People may forget the present you bought for them, but they'll never forget your scent. Find your signature fragrance at Elite Fragrances and Trade-In, located at 123 Region Road Border between Ornock Street and Shiv Chandapal Drive. Call 619-5151 or 227-1255. Get a designer fragrance for yourself or loved one that they will never forget.
Fuel it up and drive, Super 95. Fuel it up and drive, Super 95. Protect your fuel system, boy. High mileage and performance, boy.
Guyana Super 95 gasoline gives you more reasons to drive and is available at 56 service stations nationwide. For affordable price, high performance, and high mileage, choose Guyana's Super 95 gasoline.
Fuel it up and drive.
Across the region tonight, let's start off in Trinidad and Tobago, where the government will move very soon to ensure that all public vehicles are electric. That's according to the Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley. He made the announcement on Tuesday. And some drivers who welcome the news have reminded the government of the need for proper infrastructure for electric vehicles, so this will not fail as the bid for compressed natural gas fuel vehicles did, one official said. During his contribution, Mr. Rowley said the move towards a CNG policy was more or less obsolete now, as it was never fully accepted by the driving public. He said he'd instructed the energy minister on the island to accelerate government's program to seek and obtain its new fleet of electric buses for Trinidad and Tobago. He said the finance ministry will also move more aggressively to encourage the driving public to use electric vehicles. The Prime Minister cited large figures in the usage of liquid premium fuel, which increased from 35 million litres in 2016 to 105 million litres last year alone. He said cars on the road are skewed to using premium gas, and that has to do with availability. Guatemala's Congress has voted in favor of a law which prohibits same-sex marriage. The law will also prohibit the teaching of sexual diversity in schools and raise the prison sentences for women seeking abortion. Abortion is banned in Guatemala except in cases where the woman's life is at risk. In order to come into force, the law still needs to be signed by Guatemala's president. The Life and Family Protection Law was passed by an overwhelming majority in the conservative-led Congress. Only 8 lawmakers out of the 160 voted against it. It is not yet clear whether the president, who is a conservative, will sign the law, but many members of his party give their backing to it. Under the law, women who have induced their own abortion or given their consent to another person to carry it out will face a minimum of 5 years in jail, but the sentences could be much higher. If signed by the president, it will reform Guatemala's civil code to expressly prohibit same-sex marriages. The law also stipulates that schools be banned from teaching pupils that anything other than heterosexuality is normal. And finally tonight, international news. Russia has hit back at Western sanctions for invading Ukraine by imposing export bans on a string of products until the end of this year. The ban covers exports of telecoms, medical, vehicle, agricultural and electrical equipment, as well as some forestry products such as timber. The Economy Ministry said further measures could include restricting foreign ships from Russian ports. It said the measures are a logical response to those imposed on Russia. The ministry added that the bans on countries that have committed unfriendly actions were aimed at ensuring uninterrupted functioning of key sectors of the Russian economy. The export ban includes more than 200 products. The measures will last until the end of this year. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting and encouraging you to stay safe.